Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Long Range Show on Monday, the live stream where we will hang out and talk about stuff. Let me just, I'm just fixing some bits and bobs up as we wait for everybody to join us. How are we all doing? I've got a lovely sunset as our wallpaper behind me. If you're watching this back as a video, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're listening to it as a podcast, you won't have a clue what I'm talking about, but don't worry about it. If you are joining us live, please get into the comments. Please get into the chat and let us know how you're doing. Let us know what you've been up to. It's coming towards the end of the year, but we're still going strong here. So I'd be super interested to hear from you. The show works because, thanks, Gary, because you guys are here. So whether you've got a question about next year's training or next year's trainers, then drop me a comment or a question into the chat box and I will answer that as we go through over the next whatever it is. How about that? So yes, where are we? Okay, so team, busy week on the channel this week as we wait for everybody to join. Busy week on the channel. We kicked that off with so we've shoes that are under embargo that we've had a while that are dropping this week. So you saw today we had the Puma Mag Max 2, and thank you very much to everybody who's watched that video. I will answer a question about the Mag Max 2 in a minute because there's been quite a lot of comments on the video about that. So I will get onto that in a minute. We've got tomorrow, we've got the Nimbus 28. The embargo lifted this afternoon globally. But my video will come out tomorrow on the ASICS Nimbus 28. Then on Wednesday, we've got the Saucony Endorphins Pro, Need for Speed Pro 5 video coming out. I did a race in them on Sunday. I wanted to do a race before I put the review together. So that's coming out on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, still with me? On Thursday, we've got the Adidas Supernova Rise 3. That's coming to you on Thursday. Then we're going to take a little break. We do have more. I've been a busy little bee on that. We've got the Ride 19 video still to make and film and edit and all that sort of stuff. I've got another Adidas shoe, which I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to tell you about or not. But that's more towards those daily trainer focus shoes. And we may have another ASIC shoe as well. They're potentially videos that could come next week, but again, depending on the New Balance. But a lot of it depends on external factors, let's say. So, but yes, busy week. As usual, we'll have the vlog on Sunday. I can't remember what vlog it is. I think it's a good one in terms of half marathon and sort of a mile by mile half marathon to take you with me as I ran a half marathon PB. So that's kind of the channel stuff that's coming. So it's a very busy week on the channel because a lot of embargoes are lifting. We've also got the running event in Texas. So your YouTube channels and Instagram feeds are going to get blasted with all the new shoes that they can show you. So keep an eye out for that. There's obviously going to be a lot of channels over there. So make sure you watch out for that sort of stuff. What else do you need to know? The Ekiden colors are out on the ASIC shoes now, which is good news to anybody. I think the Mega Blast looks incredible in that green color. But yes, going back to the Mag Max 2, and please, again, if you're now joining us live, get your questions and comments into the chat box, into the live feed, and I will answer them as we go through. But yes, so the Mag Max 2, some of the questions that I've seen throughout all the bits and bobs was comparing it firstly to the Vomero Plus. There is going to be a video comparing it to the Vomero Plus and some other shoes in that sort of area. So that will come onto the channel. So just wait for that. And then people were asking about how it compares to Super Blast and Mega Blast. Now, for me, I don't see the Mag Max as a comparable shoe against the Super Blast and the Mega Blast. Now, I may be wrong, and I'm very happy to be corrected. I see those two shoes as standalone shoes, and nothing really is competing with them at that price point. I think the Vomero Plus at £155 can give you elements of what those two shoes do to a degree for a fraction of the cost. But I think the Super Blast and the Mega Blast stand alone because they're non-plated marathon shoes, marathon training and into race day, where the Mag Max is a max stacked shoe that has a premium foam in it. Does that make any sense? So the Super Blast and the Mega Blast have like those super foams on them that come from the race shoes. We don't have, for example, in the Mag Max, the Nitro Elite foam in there. So I don't necessarily feel that they're comparable. I wouldn't, for example, wear the Mag Max into a race. All right, where I would quite comfortably wear the Mega Blast into a race. So New York City Marathon I'm doing next year. Sitting here today, would I run the Mega Blast? 100% yes. Would I wear the Mag Max too? No, I wouldn't. Does that clear that up? Does that make any sense? Can you let me know in the chat box, sort of thing, about whether that makes any sense? Because I said there was a lot of questions in the comments, and thanks to everybody who watched that video and commented there about that. So I think that hopefully clears that up. Okay. Right. So again, if you're joining us a fraction later than we started, that's no problem. Glad to have you here. Please get into the chat box and to the comments and ask questions coaching related, about running shoes, whatever you want to talk about. And again, we've got a lot of shoes coming on the channel this week, a lot of embargoes, and I've tried to space them out over the week. Mag Max 2 today, Nimbus 28 tomorrow. What did I say? Endorphin Pro 5 Wednesday, Supernova Rise 3. We've still got the Ride 19. A couple of other shoes I'm not sure I can talk to you about. Got an Adidas Daily Train, another one, and some other stuff. So we'll see what comes out in those ones, but we'll work through them as we can. Is that all right with everyone? Okay, good. You're up to speed. Brilliant. Okay. So let's dive in. So William Moore is saying JD Sports are selling the Evo SL for £80 in some colours, which is a bargain. James Henderson saying hi, everyone. I'm just going to say hi to everybody. Caught up with Ian earlier. He did a cracking job at the Leeds Abbey Dash. And he's loving, Ian was telling me tonight how much he's loving the Vomero Plus, which is good feedback, I think, for all of us. Well done, James, on your PB yesterday. Yes, I was at Hatfield yesterday. It was my last race of the year, which I enjoyed a little bit. I was a bit tired. I did 15 miles on Saturday, and then when I'd done that race on Sunday, so I was feeling that a bit, I tell you. Philip ran his first marathon, age 50, in the Brooks Hyperion Elite 5. 3:54. Well done. I saw actually somebody running the Brooks Hyperion Elite 5 at the race I was in on Sunday, actually. It did catch my eye because you don't tend to see many people wearing them. So well done to you. That's good. Swift Dude's asking about the Evo SL ATR. I'll tell you a funny story about the Evo SL ATR. Swift Dude. Ben, who I don't know if you know the channel, but Ben got a pair. And he ran them for the first time on Saturday in that 15 miler. And all he was doing was paying them compliments the whole way around. I don't know where you are in the world, but where we were on Saturday, it was miserable and wet and horrible. And the stuff we were running wasn't brilliant. Some of it's a little bit sort of fire pass if you're in the US, sort of tracks over here, gravity tracks. And he was just complimenting the shoe the whole way around and how waterproof and ish they were, and how much the tread, how good the tread was and stuff like that. So Benny Boy's picked up a pair. He got them cheaper because of the sales, but he picked up a pair of the old ATRs. So yeah, interesting, isn't it? Paul, what's your thoughts on Garmin metrics? Don't really hear many people talk about them. Are they trash? Garmin metrics. Oh, you talking about the data? So like stats and stuff on there. I've said it before. I tend to look at my sleep score. That's the one thing I'm looking at all the time. I don't really look at anything else. I know you've got the sort of race readiness stuff and that kind of thing. I'm not somebody who really gets hung up on those sort of stats. I'm not particularly good with that side of things, if I'm honest. I look at my race predictor at the start of a training block, although I take it with a massive pinch of salt. But it gives me a rough idea because obviously I've been following it for all the years. I know how much it's out. Because so, for example, at the moment it's saying I can run a 19:17 5K, right? Well, I know that's bollocks. Um, I'm probably more 19:50. And I mean, and it's got to be right at the moment. So I know that's got an element of out, but that's okay. I don't mind that. But other than that, I don't really pay much attention to them. But that's very personal to me. Um, but I wouldn't say they're trash. I think that's probably a bit harsh. I think some of the metrics is how much you dive into them, really, more than anything else. Yeah. I don't know if that helps at all, Paul. Hopefully it does. Let me know what you think. Again, guys, if you're joining me a little bit later, please get your questions and get your comments into the chat, and I'll work my way through whether that's running shoe related or whatever you want to brag about. Maybe it's all your bargains that you got. Gary, will you be offering the weekly personal training sessions again for races into the spring? No, we won't, Gary, because to be honest with you, I'm very busy with my coaching already. So what I've opted to do for the spring, and if anybody does need any help with the spring, whatever you're doing, or slightly longer term, then drop me an email, hello@fordyruns.com. But I've took the decision next year to focus in on more on that one-to-one and try and make sure I'm adding a bit more value, but trying to make sure I'm really on top of what I've just made myself look like a prick here. But instead of saying like just really, really like dialing it down onto the one-to-one coaching. That do I do. I want to do a better job. Don't get me wrong. I think, and the guys in the chat will tell you that I do a good job anyway. But I feel like I could. I feel like I can do even more if I have a little bit more capacity. Does that make any sense? I've really just done myself a disservice. I mean, Ian's in there. Two Ians are in there. They'll probably tell you themselves the sort of work we do. But yes, so no, I'm not going to be doing the group stuff. I probably could make decent amount of money doing it, but I think I'd rather keep the quality higher, let's say, than doing the group stuff in the spring. That may change, but for now, I'm more interested in working one-to-one with people. So again, if anybody's interested in getting coaching, please get in touch. So we had some absolutely amazing. Thank you, Gavin. I've just seen Gavin. Chris does a banging choice as a coach. There we go. Says it all. Okay. Hi, Chris. Quick nutrition question. Just started my marathon block and wondered at what distance time should we start bringing the gels into play? I'm not a nutritionist. Might surprise you. But in terms of the fueling, you should be practicing, if that's your question, in your marathon training block. When you start your marathon training block is the key to this. So you get used to it. You get some tolerances in. You figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. That's really important to start playing with that as soon as you start marathon training or half marathon training, that you start playing around with your fueling. In terms of the point in which you take them is dependent on you as a person and dependent on several factors: pace, distance, effort, because obviously effort may not necessarily result to pace. That kind of thing, where you are in terms of your week and stuff like that. So, and what you've had for breakfast. But as a general rule of thumb, about 35 to 40 minutes is a good time to take on some form of fuel once you've got started. Obviously, fuel beforehand as well, as a general rule of thumb. But everybody's different. So, for example, if I'm doing a push effort, I'll bring forward when I fuel. If I'm doing an easy run, an easier effort, so you're not bad, thanks, Ian. I will do a slightly longer distance. So 15 miles, I'm in marathon training ish. I have run 50 miles starved. I did it the other week. This week I asked Ben, I said, look, are we going to fuel this one? He said, yeah, we better get into training again. And he's right. I fueled at 5 and 10 as an example, because it was a super easy effort. If I was racing, I'd be a lot quicker than that in terms of getting the fueling. I hope that helps. Okay. Chris, I know Under Armour shoes are not very popular. However, I love the Sonic 7 and Infinite 3. My question is, out of the two racing shoes, being the Velocity 2 and 3, which do you think is better? Hmm. I like the 3. The problem I had with the 3 is that it's a bit dated. It's not a bad shoe. The Under Armour Velocity Elite 3 is not a bad shoe. It's over the top in terms of pricing, and the technology's old. I think you would be better off, you know, in one of the more latest design shoes, you know, the stuff that ASICs are doing with their aliphatic TPU compounds and, you know, all this sort of stuff, right? But the Under Armour shoe is not a bad shoe. It's just for the price of it, you can get better out there. But if you like Under Armour, then I would go for the 3. But as I said, it's very expensive. It really is. Guys, get your questions, comments in for me, please. Okay. Okay. Danny, evening 40. Love the content. Thank you very much. Here's his question. My wife does high rock, so a lot of 1K interval stuff. She's been using Hyperion GTS, but now discontinued. Any recommendations for a fast stability shoes? I'm guessing what you're asking for. A fast stability shoe. Well, good news, Danny. Good news. Firstly, for her, high rock shoes. I see a lot of guys down the gym wearing, and I appreciate the sponsor, wearing the Deviate Nitro 3. There's the 4th version coming, by the way. But they wear them. That's quite a slightly wider base. That's got a carbon plate in it. The foam's not overly soft. Got Puma grip on the outside, so that might be a place to start for the old High Rocks. I see a lot of people in the gym who do like the High Rocks training in the Puma High Rock shoes and stuff. So that's not a bad place to start, maybe. Depends how bad her pronation is, but that could be a good shout. Yeah, probably a good place to start, actually. But well done, her. What a hero. James Henderson, Evo SL is my favourite shoe currently with the changing weather. Fab shoe. Are you talking about the Evo SL ATR, James? Hopefully you are. I think it's a good shout. So Danny's back. He picked up the Superlast in the Ekiden colorway. Yeah, the Ekiden colorway looks really good. Like I said, Danny, a minute ago, I said the Mega Blast. I think the Mega Blast looks really cool in that colorway. I don't know what it is. There's something really nice about it. I'm half tempted to ask them for a pair just because they look good. And my other ones, even they're like brand new underneath, but the uppers are ruined because the stuff we run on now is all like wintry, horrible stuff. It'd be nice to get like a nice fresh pair of them, wouldn't it? But then again, they're only going to get ruined over the winter. So yeah, it's a funny old one. But yeah, I really like that green colorway. It's a nice colorway. Okay, Colin. Last call, let's say, kinda, for shoe questions, coaching questions. Get them in. And thanks everybody for joining us tonight. I really appreciate if you are joining late. As a heads up, we've got a busy week on the channel. I mentioned it already. We've got Magmax 2 today, Nimbus tomorrow, Nimbus 28. What was the other one I said? Can anyone remember? Oh, Saucony Pro 5's Wednesday, and Adidas Supernova Rise 3. This week. Okay. If you could drop your own shoe, what would it be like? Maybe using outsole, midsole, uppers from your favorite shoes. Oh, that's a really good question, Colin. Maybe everyone should play along with this one. Outsole would be Puma grip. Midsole. I'll be honest with you. I really like the what Nike have done with the AirPods and the Zoom X. I'm just loving that shoe at the moment. Absolutely love that shoe. So that would be, I'd probably go with that. Although I'd make it so it doesn't squeak as much, and it just makes a hell of a racket. That thing, it really does, especially in the wet. But I'd probably go with that. Upper, I'd probably use the upper off like one of the Saucony shoes. To be honest with you, the upper in the Pro 5's nice. They do make some good uppers over at Saucony. So yeah, that's probably got it. No carbon plate. Yeah, that's probably where somewhere I'd go. It's not a bad shout, but great question. Really good question. If you was being specific on the type of shoe, then I might have been a bit harder for me. I think I basically described the Nike Vomero Premium. But anyway, I think. Chris, did you say there's an unveiling event for shoes in Texas? No, Gary. What I was saying is that what happens is the guys and girls from US media uh, go out to Texas and they go around all the different brands. So like Skechers, Nike, Asics, New Balance, they're all there. And they've all got their 2026 and into 2027 lineups. And they're all, you book an appointment, you go and see them, they'll talk you through the ranges and stuff like that. They'll show you stuff that we can't see because of embargo dates, but they'll show you stuff that those media outlets are okay to show. So whether that's on YouTube, written press, whatever. And there'll be embargo dates that come through. But what you'll see at the sort of what day is it? Towards the later stages of the week, you'll see all the videos coming out on YouTube, and because we're on YouTube tonight, with all those shoes that they can show us. So immediate responses to the latest shoes from Hoka and things like that. And they'll hold some back because I say because of embargo dates and things like that. But yeah, it's the running event in Texas. It's the big sort of unveiling of the 26 shoes and 27 into that. So it's apparently a good event. I was meant to go one year, but I was sick, so I couldn't get out there. But yeah, so it's kind of cool. You'll see it again on all the US media channels. You'll see a lot of that stuff. James Henry, yeah, he did say the ATR. Phillips come back. I've yet to see anyone else running the Brooks Hyperion Elite 5. Yeah, that's what I was saying to you. I was quite surprised yesterday when somebody was rocking them out. You don't see many people. I don't, as I said, I think in one of the videos, it's a shame that nobody really bought that shoe because it is a good shoe. I ran it at the Hackney Half Marathon. I really enjoyed it. It is a good shoe. It was a good move from Brooks to go down that line. I think they needed it the way it looked with all those bobbles and bubbles and stuff in the midsole. I think they need to cut that out. It looks a bit crap. But make it more of a more appealing to more people, I say, in the way it looks. Again, everybody's different in the way that these things look. But the colorway was banging. The sort of orange and blue, I thought looked great. So it's a great shoe. But not many people buy it because the Asics are so good. The Fast R3 from Puma. There's so many good racing shoes out there. There's something for everybody now. But it depends on you as a runner, right? But yeah, okay. Here we go. Thanks everybody for joining us, by the way. Okay, and he's in from Maastricht. Perfect timing with the marathon prep video. I signed up for my first marathon in May. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we did a video. We've been doing some, as I said on the last week, I think it was. We've been doing these sort of vlogs where I'm trying to part some knowledge and doing bits and bobs in those sort of, instead of less about me and more trying to give some of that knowledge over from stuff that I'm thinking about, but also stuff I'm telling my runners to be thinking about as well. That's what I'm trying to do at the moment on the channel a little bit. Then we get into the festive season and we're sort of looking back, looking forward. Those sort of videos are coming your way and just sort of tying off the end of the year in terms of the race vlogs. If there are vlogs or ideas that you want me to get into on the channel, subjects and things like that, we are doing one about gym sessions and things like that because that's one that I keep getting asked about. But just drop me an email, hello@fordyruns.com, and I will, we'll look at that and see if that sort of works into the schedule and works into the plan in terms of the vlogs and things like that. So yeah, just let me know. But I appreciate the support. I really do. And to remind everyone, we're back at the National Running Show again in January. If you're over here in the UK, we're live on stage on Saturday. I'm there on Saturday. We've got a big shakeout run post show 5:30. So get on that and sign up. Okay. Okay, evening for. Oh, this is cool. Look, we just had somebody become a member on the channel. That's pretty cool. Vivi Nesh, I can't pronounce that wrong because I'm an idiot. So thanks very much. Yeah, you can support the channel by becoming a member on the channel. It's got a couple of quid. It just helps stuff. Obviously, all this that we do, it's not free. Is the wrong word. It takes time. It takes money, and to do all this sort of stuff. Um, so we don't earn. I mentioned it in Hayden when we did the podcast with Hayden. We're not making millions here. I wish I was. So I appreciate that. So if you want to support the channel, support me and what we're trying to do, then yeah, become a member. There's not many benefits. In fact, there's probably very little. But it just if you're a big fan of the content and you appreciate the content that's being made, you're getting something out of it. It does make a difference. So thank you very much. Right, so go back to Mick's question. Mick, evening 40, just picked up 2 pairs of shoes over the weekend. Puma Nitro Elite 3 for £45. Wallop. And the Evo SL 80R for 101. Yeah, I'm sure that's what Ben paid, Mick. I was talking about it earlier. I swear he paid something like that. And as I said, he absolutely loved them. I don't know what colourway you got. Let me know. Paul's come back on his Garmin stats. He thinks they're absolute tut. Okay, boy, it's interesting. Right, here we go. I'm getting some love here as a coach. Gavin, Ian, and Ian all telling me that I'm a hero. Thanks, guys. And again, if you missed that on the coaching side of things, if you want some coaching one-to-one, please get in touch. hello@fordyruns.com. Yeah. So if you had a choice between the Wave Sky 9 or Mag Max 1 for your easy pace miles, which would you choose? Wave Sky 9 is really comfortable. I mean, really comfortable. And the Mag Max 1, I'd probably want to do all my miles a bit faster than I probably should. And it's not as soft as version 2. That's a tough one, that is. Can I say Nike Vomero Premium, Gavin? Would that be all right? Nike Vomero Premium. Ian got me through my first marathon after years of trying to tell myself. Yeah, well done, boys. Thank you. I appreciate the love. Okay. Mark. Hi, Chris. I got the Vomero Plus, Nike Vomero Plus for 116 quid. Following last week's questions to you, ran 10 miles in them straight out of the box. Enjoyed the comfort. Thanks for this. You're welcome, Mark. Yeah, as I said, Ian here. I was chatting to Ian earlier. We had a call just before we come on, actually, and he was telling me how much he loves the Vomero Premium. Vomero, done it again. Vomero Plus. It's such a good shoe. It really is, and at that price. That's what I said to you about, the Mega Blast, Super Blast. They're such good shoes, but if you can't afford the £200. At £116, the Vomero Plus, you're going to be able to do a lot of what you can do in those shoes. Not all, but a lot. Okay. So that's what you've got to remember. It really is. What has been the most, this is a great question. What has been the most overhyped shoe of the year, in your opinion? Anything from On Running, the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0. What else? What else? What's that name of that shoe? Hang on. You got obviously that rad stuff. Total waste of time. Mount to Coast. But then I'm not a trail ultra runner, so a bit wasted on me, which is why we've not reviewed them. Where is it? Hang on. Trying to find it. There's been a few. You just have to bear with me because I'm trying to find it. No, I can't find it, so I'm not going to waste too much time. But that's a couple of examples. Yeah, that's probably a good shout. There are a couple of examples. I say anything from On Running, total waste of time. Yeah, that's probably fair enough, isn't it? Yeah, we'll stop there so I don't get myself into a hell of a lot of trouble. But yeah, the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0. Not really digging that at all. Mainly because the cutout, it made it just so unstable. It was just like, what? Um, yeah, that's probably enough. We don't need to be negative nearly too much. I know I've got a habit of doing that anyway. Pegasus Premium, totally overhyped. That was a bag of old took. Hopefully they change that significantly for the next version. Although, as I said, Hayden had a conversation with them in Chicago, and he said, "Look, if you lean, oh, Sonic Blast, that was it, the Sonic Blast," and that was a shame. I still don't understand that. Also, like the Rebel V, whatever version 5 from New Balance. So many people doing events with that shoes were saying, "Oh, this is the best thing ever." My one's bottomed out after less than 60 miles. Absolute took. So, you know, that's a couple of examples. But the Sonic Blast was the one I was thinking of. And don't get me wrong, I think I was the one who's maybe started some of that. Because if you think back to whenever we started talking about it, I was super hyped about it because I thought this is going to be great. And then they ruined it by making it too firm and too boring. So let's hope the second version is an absolute killer because I think ASICS will. And if you've not listened back to the pod we did where we went through the ASICS shoes, I'd recommend you do that. What's your opinion on the Brooks Ghost 17 and Glycerine 22 for walking? Yeah, they're all right. I'll be honest with you, I'd probably go the Glycerine Max 2. Would be a better shout for that. Any ideas on relatively flat spring marathons? It's just me, or is the UK seriously lacking fast courses, barring Manchester and London? Yeah, Brighton and Newport. That's exact. I was going to say Newport. Brighton's not flat. I did it last year. Newport was the one I was going to say. There's a couple in autumn, but not spring. But yeah, there is a few. We are sort of lacking that, and that's why I think so many people are travelling to get some of these races in. But yeah, there we go. So I said to you, Vim become a member, which is Vivi. So I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the channel. It means a lot. There you go. Following you for a while. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, I've been doing. That's what I was thinking about, Lisa, in the end of the year. By the way, I liked your video. You did on the for the club. Thank you for doing that. If you want to do more of that, get in touch with Hayden. How many miles would you say is too much for a race day shoe? I have about 200 in my Adidas Pro 3s. They definitely can take that, and they still feel great, but are 2 years old. Does age affect the foam? Yeah, it does. It can start to play up. The Pro 3, it's weird. I was talking about this today. The Adidas Pro 3 seems to be a bit of a standout shoe with regards to how long it lasts and things like that. I think if there was any other shoe, it would have broken down. But the Pro 3 was a really good shoe at that. I wouldn't take a race day shoe that long. I'm slightly different because obviously we get a lot of shoes here and there. But if I wasn't testing shoes and stuff, I probably wouldn't take them that long. But the Pro 3 was able to handle it. So I think it's a bit of a unique situation you've got there with the Pro 3. Is 7 weeks enough time to do a core training block for a half marathon? I don't know what condition you're in already. So yeah, hard one. I'd say no, but again, you might be like semi-pro. So if I had more information, I could give you a little bit more of a better answer. Okay, I've got blue ATRs. They are banging. Also loving all the new videos and the way you're doing them. Thank you, Mick. I really appreciate that. Now we're getting on to the races. Edinburgh is in May is flat. Not the best course though. With the outback, nah, that's the problem. The thing with the Edinburgh Marathon in May is the fact that you have to get back from where it finishes is an absolute ball ache. It really is. There's what was it? A client of mine's looking at Stockholm. I don't know whether that's flat. So yeah, I'm not sure whether that's something to consider, but he's looking at doing Stockholm in May. So that might be worth having a look at. as an idea. But yeah, that doesn't help the question in terms of the UK. Yeah, Newport was the one I was going to say, to be honest with you. Um, that would have been the one I'd gone for. And actually, she's just come back, or he's just come back. Sorry, I've just heard that UK Boston, but I'm partial to the big event race. They feel with larger crowds. Don't think I can get excited about little races. Not UK, but I was chatting to Spigo on the train, and he was telling me about Rotterdam, how that has large crowds on the streets and things like that. So again, it's not a million miles away. Probably get there quicker than some places in the UK. So Rotterdam is one thing to consider. Lisa, he'll strike it when running. Is there a way to stop this? Yes, you can. You need to obviously strengthen. That's key. You need to look at your hip position. You need to be a little bit more upright, but you need to work on, as I said, that sort of middle part of your chain to really strengthen out, to pull your hips in. That'll bring your foot strike slightly forward. But you need to work on the strength as well. But yeah, 100% in terms of biomechanics. Look, I don't know what age you are or when you got into this, but if you're anything like normal people, it's harder the later on you're getting in life in terms of changing things, but we can make adjustments. And if we do them over a period of time, then it will make a difference. But strength, in saying that middle section, the whole kinetic change, but in that middle section, if we can just really work on some of the glutes and around that area, that core, and just bring that in, bring that forward, that will automatically change your foot strike. It's not a problem, no. But it's something to work on for sure. Yeah, Lee, that's a great way to finish. If you're looking for a fast, flat spring marathon, avoid Leeds. That's from a man who done it a couple of times. So there we go. Great advice from Ian to finish off tonight's show. So again, guys, look, I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. I'm back Monday. We're not live on Friday. We've got a Marathon Talk pre-recorded podcast. I think you'll like it. It's a bit of a wrap-up of the year. Again, we've got a busy week on the channel this week. A lot of shoes that we've had for a while, our embargoes are releasing, so they'll be coming your way. Don't forget, if you want some help with some coaching, drop me an email at fordyruns.com. I think that's probably about it, guys. More than anything else, we're live at the National Running Show. Make sure you sign up for that. But that's it. Thanks very much for hanging out with me. I'm back next Monday. I'll see you guys then.